Have you ever thought it strange that more money is printed every single day and the supply is absolutely endless, yet most people's supply in their own bank accounts is not endless? Maybe you heard of the movie The Secret and the Law of Attraction, and somebody said, well, if you just think about more money and you say, it'll show up in your bank account. And then it didn't work. I know I tried that and a few other mantras. None of them seemed to work. I was a 19-year-old self-published author with dreams of publishing books internationally and touring all over the world and building a six-figure business by utilizing the law of attraction. Only it was not working. Well, over the last 8 years, I put these ideas to the test and I found some huge missing things in the law of attraction that you can actually start to use when you understand and apply your subconscious mind to align with your conscious desires. Because that's when things get magical. So I'm Jake Ducey from JakeDucey.com. Really excited to be doing a guest post to Clark Kegley's YouTube channel and really excited to meet all of you. And I'm excited to share with you how you can actually use the law of attraction to double your income, to build a six-figure business. Heck, I'm a 19-year-old at one point, self-published college dropout, and now I'm getting hired by some of the biggest companies in the world, touring all over the world, publishing books with Penguin Random House. If I could do that, I guarantee you that if you understand these simple things that I'm about to share, you could double, triple your income, build a six-figure business. So I'm really excited to share these with you, and let's get going. Number one to consider, what is money really? See, the reason that most people don't attract more money in their life is not because they're not worthy. It's because they have some type of weird ideas about what money is. All money is at the core, and everything in this reality is energy. If you look under an electron microscope at the cell phone or the computer that you're watching this video from, all it is energy moving at a very, very, very high speed of vibration, and it appears solid to our very limited senses. But all it is energy. So all money is, all a computer is, all my body is energy at a certain speed of vibration. Now, this has been proven time and time and time again by scientists. Everything in this reality is energy, which is a really weird concept to us because we're conditioned, socially conditioned from the time that we're born to think that this is a solid world, when in fact, everything is energy vibrating at a certain rate that appears to be solid. So what is money? People say, well, money is evil. Well, money is this. Well, money is that. Money just is. Money has been all types of things. Money used to be cattle. That used to be currency. Back in the day, you were rich if you had a lot of cattle. That's what they traded. Now imagine today if we still use cattle and I had like 17 cows in my bedroom. I'd probably have a lot of cow poop or cow chips. For those that have ever thrown cow chips on 4th of July, you probably would have a lot of those in your bedroom. Now, I don't think that today you would categorize that as wealthy. But back in the day, that was wealth. But it got really hard to transport. So then after cattle, you know what we did? We moved to coins. Coins, after a while, pretty difficult. You can get them stolen. It's hard to transport. So what did we do next? We went from paper. We went from plastic. We went from light. You just press a couple buttons and all of a sudden the money travels at the speed of a light and it's over on the other side of the world. So all money is a medium of exchange. So someone says, well, money's bad, or they have this problem, this idea that they can't attract more money. All money is simply energy at a certain rate of vibration that in our world constitutes a medium of exchange. That's all money is, which is really weird to think about it because people attach all these crazy ideas that they're not worthy of money. All money is paper. Money is just an idea, but wealth is a state of consciousness. It's that state of consciousness that's always created money. So when you start to grasp that money is just energy and that wealth is a state of consciousness, and that you can tap into that state of consciousness, you can start to create more money. Number 2 to keep in mind, money is really 2 things. In the last section, we were talking about how every single thing, including money, is energy. So, how do you determine whether you're attracting more money into your life or not? Well, it's all by your energy. So one thought is, I'm so happy and grateful that I live in this world where we have the internet and amazing opportunities to serve people and inspire people, and that there's more money printed every single day, and that there are amazing clients and customers and people that I can work with in the world, and that more money is coming to me, and I'm so grateful for the money that's been in my life so far. What type of emotional state is that? And by emotional state, what I really mean is emotion. What does the E stand for? Energy. What does the motion stand for? Motion. Your energy in motion. Whose energy? Your energy. Your emotion. So what is your emotion determined by? Your emotion is determined by your conscious and subconscious thoughts that you're having. So money is really 2 things. One, that would be a state of abundance. That state of abundance is not determined by the amount of money you've had in your bank account in the past, your tax returns from last year, what happened last month, right? Remember, we said that wealth is a state of consciousness. Now, the state of consciousness is decided by you, which is where it gets really exciting. So that's a state of abundance. That's money in abundance. Now, money is really 2 things. So what would be another idea of that? Now, first, let me regress. Think about the woman that says, I really want to be in an amazing relationship. I really want to fall in love. I really want to meet my soulmate. But then the only story that you really hear them say is that there's no good guys out there. That's the story they tell themselves over and over again. They're constantly frustrated. They're constantly in an energy of lack. They're constantly in a state of, there are no good guys out there. So what happens? You have this part of your brain, it's called your reticular activating system. Your reticular activating system is basically, there's billions of bits of information of things happening right now in this very, very second. You know, there's cars going by outside right now, there's trains, there's birds, there's airplanes, there's so much sound. Now your reticular activating system, based off of your intentions and your central points of focus in this moment, hone in right now. So right now, your reticular activating system is focused on this video right now because you've made that your primary focus. So it's tuning out the lawnmower outside and the phone beeping over here and this thing happening, because the reticular activating system, there's so much things happening at once that if we were aware of everything and focused on everything, we would actually go crazy. Nothing would get done. We would never be able to focus on anything. So the reticular activating system, whatever is the dominant idea that's held in the mind, the reticular activating system focus on that and sees that as the reality. So what's happening with the woman who's saying, there's no good guys out there, there's no good guys out there, firstly, what is she doing? If every single thing is energy, what is she doing? She's immediately putting herself in an energy of lack. She's out of alignment. She's out of congruence with what it is that she wants, which is an amazing relationship. Now think of that in the context of money. How many people do you know that go out there and they say, you know, because of the politicians and because of the Federal Reserve and because of this and my past report cards and I wasn't born with the resources and it's gonna take too long and I'm not Oprah, and they say it with, you know, with a bit of joke. But what is that? Your reticular activating system is saying, okay, boss, I'll make sure that you never create more money. Or they try it out for a week, they work hard, or a month they work hard, or 2 months they work hard, but they look at their bank account and then they say, you know, it's not really moving. I mean, I guess there's not that much money out there. What's happening? Their bank account is controlling their thinking. See, you have the ability to think what it is that you want to think at any time. And when you do that, then you can be in a state of wealth as opposed to a state of scarcity, as opposed to a state of fear. So money is really 2 things. And you can tell what you're attracting into your life at any moment based off of how you feel. It's called your emotional guidance system. We have this thing, it's actually called feeling, and it's a word that we invented. And feeling is conscious awareness of the vibration that I'm in. So when someone says, I'm feeling wealthy, I'm feeling joy, I'm feeling great, what is that? They're in a harmonious vibration. They're in a beautiful vibration. When someone says, I feel okay, I feel bad, I feel uninspired, they're in a very negative energy. They're aware that they're in a very negative energy. So at any moment, you can check in and you can just gauge how it is that you're feeling to see what it is that you're slowly but surely starting to attract into your life. So just take a step back and ask yourself, is my bank account controlling my thinking, or does my thinking control my bank account? And how do I feel right now? Where is my energy? Because my energy now is dictating what other energies I'm bringing into my life, whether that's $10,000 or exactly the same as the month before. Number 3 to keep in mind is that you have a conscious mind and you have a subconscious mind. Now, maybe before you've done your affirmations, but then you didn't get the results. Then you said this stupid law of attraction thing, this stupid positive thinking thing, none of this works. Or maybe you know someone that's been like that before. So the thing to keep in mind is that psychologists tell us we have 65,000 thoughts in a day. You have 65,000 thoughts in a day, and 95% of them are unconscious. They're coming from your subconscious mind, meaning that 65,000 thoughts in a day, 95% of all the thoughts and all the actions and all the reactions that we have are unconscious. They're subconscious, meaning they're pre-programmed into us by our parents, by our teachers, by our media, by social media, by people that you grew up with, by bullies, by an emotionally traumatizing experience that you had, things that you heard people say repeatedly, and then soon that becomes your reality. Now, the easiest way to think of that is think about politics, right? Now, we're not going to get into a debate about politics, but think about the idea of when you grow up and you're around your parents or whoever takes care of you growing up, and we generally adopt their political views. Why is that? It's because we heard mom or dad arguing about the red side or the blue side our whole life and yelling at the television, and slowly but surely we believe the exact same thing. That's an example of subconscious programming. Now you've got to consider you've been subconsciously programmed around finances. Now think about that. Only about 1%, 2% of the population are truly just mega rich, which means all of us pretty much have been negatively programmed subconsciously. Mud isn't growing trees, or people make just as much money as their parents make, or maybe your parents got divorced and the dominant arguments were around money, or maybe only one of your parents earned money, so then you thought because you were a woman that you can't earn much money, or maybe your mom made more than your dad, so you expected the woman to make more, or maybe your parents grew up during the Great Depression or during a recession, so you got programmed. Maybe you never saw anyone make much money. The fact is that you've been subconsciously programmed, so it doesn't matter if you consciously are doing affirmations, if you consciously say, here's my goal to make more money. The fact is, if you don't program your subconscious mind, you can't create what you want in life. See, I was out there peddling my books and I was out there working really hard, starting to gain some traction, but I still wasn't making much money. And what I started to do was I started to record my own hypnosises, where I would take statements and I would put them over some beats in the background, and I would listen to them for 30 minutes every single day. I would start to program my subconscious. The first year I did that, I saw my income double, saw it triple the next year, and it kept growing every single year because I started to replay new ideas. It's kind of like when that new Drake song comes on the radio, I know in the hotline bling. What happens? Everyone starts to sing that song. Like if this video came on and all I did is I sang, Mary had a little lamb, and you were interesting enough of a person to listen to me do that for 15 minutes, what would happen? What would happen? Seriously. that song would replay in your head over and over and over and over and over again. What happened? Subconscious programming. It just got imprinted. It's the same thing when you sing the chorus of a song over and over again. It's the same thing when someone says, there's no good guys out there. There's no good women out there. We're all screwed because of the economy. There's no more opportunities to make more money. These are subconscious programmings that control all of our life, because remember, 95% of our life is subconscious, is unconscious. See, another example would be like when you learn how to drive a car. You're sitting in the parking lot, your mom's over there like, press the gas, no, press the brake. And you're like, Mom, shut up. I'm just trying to focus, right? You're not texting like you are now. You're not on the phone like you are now. You're not turning the knob on the radio. You are like gripped like a grandma, both hands on the wheel. Sorry, grandma, both hands on the wheel. Totally focused. Your conscious mind is totally present. No distractions. You learn how to drive that car though, then you're texting, you're flipping through the channels, you're dancing, and you're doing the background singer's voice, you're doing the rapper's voice on the verses, you're doing the guitar chords, you're drumming at the same time, you're steering with your left knee, you're hardly even looking, and you don't really even remember driving because you were so occupied consciously elsewhere. What happened? Your subconscious drove you. And then the car came into the intersection, you slammed onto the brakes. You didn't have to tell yourself, brakes, brakes, brakes. It was subconscious and it took control and did it for you. See, you've got a subconscious part of yourself that's controlling your financial destiny, that tells you how good you are, what you're good enough to attract into your life, what you can expect for your future, and you've got to retrain that. So I'll put a link to my free success hypnosis, just jakeshypnosis.com, that you can start to listen to and download immediately and start to program your mind. Now, the other thing that I invite you to consider is to get an index card and write your financial goal and carry it with you everywhere that you go. I'm so happy and grateful now that I'm making $1,056,000 a year, now that I'm making $3,000 a month, now that I'm making da-da-da. And you start to carry that with you and program your mind as much as possible, because the only way that you can reprogram something subconsciously is how? Is repetition. It's the same way that we believe the same political ideologies as our parents, because every day for 9 years we heard them argue about the red side or the blue side, and slowly that seeped into our unconscious mind, into our subconscious. So you've got to take the desire from the conscious mind and you've got to implant it subconsciously. And when you implant it subconsciously, then it expresses itself through the body, through the mind, through the actions, and through the results that we get in our life. And you see that from Arnold Schwarzenegger saying in his autobiography, Total Recall, he'd been carrying around index cards since he was just a little kid that said that he was a famous actor. W. Clement Stone, who is one of the richest men in the world. You see this by many of the most successful people in the world. They're subconsciously programming themselves while the rest of us are getting programmed by what our bank account says, what social media says, what the yelling, angry news correspondents and financial people are saying about the economy, what our parents say, what happened last year, what happened last week, and that controls us. So you've got to take control of your subconscious mind. So if you wondered why your affirmations have never worked before, it's because you haven't stuck to them long enough or gotten emotionally involved with them enough for them to seep in subconsciously. Step number 4 to keep in mind is that you have an imagination, and your imagination is what's going to program your subconscious through repetition. But first, let me regress for a second. Let's say that when you were a kid, your mom or your dad walked up to you and you said, hey, this is really important. You're only gonna hear this one time in your whole life. I'm never gonna tell you it again, but you're gonna need this for the rest of your life. This is super important. Your name is Phil. Okay, you got it? All right. And then a couple years passed by and this guy walked up, he said, hey, I'm Bob, nice to meet you. What would you do? You wouldn't even know what your name was. The only reason that you know what your name is because it's been programmed subconsciously through constant repetition. Your mom said, Phil, what are you doing? Phil, come over here. Hey Phil, great job Phil, Phil. And then it got programmed into you subconsciously. So think about the ideas that you've inherited around money or that you've heard around money. Or think about the times and the things that you've inherited around your worthiness, around your confidence, around what you deserve in life. See, those things are controlling the amount of money that you're attracting into your life. Even if you're consciously thinking positive and doing your affirmations, that's responsible for only 5% of your life. See, now you have this beautiful thing. It's called your conscious mind, and in your conscious mind you have an imagination. So get this. Remember when you were little and you thought there was a monster underneath your bed and you screamed to your guardian and you said, "Mom or Dad or Grandma or Brother, come in here," and you're freaking out, right? What happened? Your hands were sweaty, your heart was beating, you couldn't sleep, you're having a physiological reaction to a thought that you were thinking. In this instance, the thought that there was a monster. Now your guardian comes in, they grab you, they make you look under the bed. It's the third time you've done it in a week, so they're a little frustrated at you. You look under the bed and all of a sudden you see there's no monster and you relax. Then you go to bed, no problem. Sleep like a baby. What was happening? You were believing a thought that you were thinking. In this instant, there's a monster in my bed, it's going to kill me. What happened? Every thought that you have has a chemical reaction in your brain that says electrical impulses through your nervous system that control how you feel physiologically. Hands sweaty, heart's beating. It didn't even matter if it was real or not. See, that's the thing. Your subconscious mind, which is your emotional mind, does not differentiate between what's real and what's not real. It just accepts whatever is dominantly held in the mind through repetition and is emotionalized. So you're like, monster in my bed, I'm freaking out. And your hands were sweaty, your heart was beating, it seemed like it was real. Now, maybe you were something like me, and one time, when I was little, I thought that there was a robber in my house. It was one of the first times my parents left me alone. And what did I do? I called the police. I was standing by the front door with a baseball bat, ready to break somebody's skull because I thought that there was a robber in my house and I was imagining bad things happening to me. So what happened? I imagined something. I had a chemical reaction to it. It controlled my emotion, my energy in motion. My energy changed. I had a physiological reaction to it. And what happened? I lived out a reality that was not true. Now, the reality is that most of us are living out realities that are not true. Money realities that are not true. Think about it. I'm not good enough. There's not enough opportunity because of the economy, because I failed last time. And we live with monsters under our financial bed that control our entire lives. And the thing is, they're not true. So every thought that you have has a chemical reaction. It controls how you feel that dictates your entire life. So here's what to keep in mind. Whatever images that you hold in your mind are what express themselves in your life. So here's what you got to consider is that everything in the entire world was created through imagination. So how was this shirt created? It was created by somebody who uses their imagination that we call a designer. Well, how did your house get created? It was created by an architect, someone that uses their imagination and then slowly but surely builds that thing into a reality. So if you want to change your financial destiny, the first step is to start to imagine a different future. Is to start to get emotionally involved with that idea the same way that we get emotionally involved with the monster underneath our bed or the robber in our house or that there's no good guys out there in the world or that I'm going to get fired and you're freaking out for 3 weeks but you never get fired and you actually ended up getting a promotion. What was happening? You were believing an idea, an image in your mind that you've given emotional credence to. Because get this, you think in images. When I say think of your car, think of your refrigerator. You don't spell out WHIT, white refrigerator, dirty handle. You see the image of your refrigerator. You see the image of your car in your mind, in your mind's eye. When I say pink elephant, you see a pink elephant. So your mind works in images. And when you can use your imagination to close your eyes to the world, because get this, you only see a little bit of visible light. There's way more visible light than what our limited eyes can comprehend. There's way more sound than what our limited senses can hear. Dogs can hear more than us. There's a lot of animals that can see more than us. Our senses are very limited, and there's a lot more to reality than what our senses can actually perceive. Whoa, getting trippy, but it's true. So consider this. Lack of evidence isn't evidence of lack. Lack of evidence is not evidence of lack. Just because there's no evidence yet that there's more opportunities for you to make more money, or that your new business is working or not working yet, or the customers or the clients or the economy or whatever it is, that it's not working yet, that doesn't mean that it's evidence of lack. We live in a totally abundant world. There's billions of people. There's more money printed every day. We have the internet. We have an unlimited subconscious mind that we can access and utilize. So lack of evidence isn't evidence of lack. So I invite you to imagine a different future. To imagine a different future and to take that index card and every single day carry it with you and repeat that statement and get emotionally involved with that idea. And slowly start to change your subconscious programming around money, around success, around what it is that you can create. And when you start to imagine a different future for yourself, slowly but surely you start to change your subconscious programming. The last thing that I invite you to consider is a law of gestation and incubation. It's possible that you're going to get going on this big vision of yours, and then in a week or a month or a year, you're going to stop because you're not going to see the results the way that you want them to be. And that's just bound to happen when we're changing entire subconscious programming. It may take longer than we suspect. So there's a law of gestation and incubation. A carrot seed takes about 70 to 90 days. A baby takes about 9 months. Well, a dream, there's no exact time frame on your dream to earn more money, to serve people in a powerful way, to do something exciting and magical. It may take some time. So, we're infatuated by this idea of visionary. You've heard that term before, and we have this romantic affair with it. Steve Jobs is a visionary, and all these people are visionaries, and it's so amazing. Visionaries move the world forward. What is a visionary? It's someone who lives from an inner vision as opposed to the outer world. So there's kind of two types of people. One type of person is the type of person who lives from their inner vision. They do not let anything in the outer world control their inner vision. That would be Steve Jobs. In fact, there's a term that they use in his autobiography. It's called reality distortion field. So Steve Jobs had a term that was used by all of his employees. It was called his reality distortion field. Reality distortion field. He distorted reality. In fact, he said, when you realize the world was built by people no smarter than you, then you can mold it and you can shape it however you want. Reality distortion field. He lived from his inner vision. He lived from his imagination. He lived from his subconscious mind and did not let the outer world control it. Yet, for most people, they live the entirely opposite way. Instead of a visionary, they're a reality-ary. They just live by what is outside of them. Well, my bank account only says this. Well, it's been 3 weeks and this hasn't happened yet. And they let their thoughts and the images that they hold in their mind get controlled by the outer world. So what I invite you to consider is when someone says no, you say next. When someone says no, you say next. When life says no, you say next. You just keep telling yourself, no, next, no, next. And when something doesn't go the way that you want, you remind yourself that Virgin companies, the billion-dollar companies created by Richard Branson, one of the richest people in the entire world. Do you know why it's called Virgin? It's called Virgin because Richard was a 16-year-old dyslexic kid with a middle school education when he started his business. And he said, well, what am I going to call this? I might as well call it Virgin because I have no idea what I'm doing. He's now one of the richest people in the entire world. Out there are countless stories. The Beatles were denied by Decca recording studios, and it goes on and on and on. Elvis Presley was told that he had better luck going back to his old job, which was a truck driver. These stories go on and on, so remind yourself, when someone says no, you say next. There's a law of gestation and incubation. There's a period of time that must elapse for your dream to go from an image in your mind to getting programmed subconsciously to expressing itself out in your life to attract the amount of money that you want to make. It took time for the Wright brothers to bend a piece of metal and fly it over the ocean. Things take time. Anything worthwhile will take you quite a while at times. Now, it may be different for you. It may take a week. All of a sudden, you're doing your statement, you're looking at this, you're listening to that hypnosis every single day, and things click fast for you. For other people, it might be slower. Just remind yourself, when someone says no, you say next. You stay from your inner vision. Remember, we only see a little bit of visible light. That lack of evidence isn't evidence of lack. Just because I can't see doesn't mean it's not happening, because someone might need to come from China to be your business partner or a new customer, or from Europe, or they might need to come from New York State. There's things from all over the world that when your energy harmonizes with what you want and your subconscious is programmed, then the world starts to move. People come from all over the world to be a part of your vision and your mission, and things start to work themselves out. So give yourself the time and remind yourself that lack of evidence is an evidence of lack. When someone says no, when life says no, when this thing doesn't work out, remind yourself that you say next. Because at the end of the day, the problems, the challenges, they're asking you, who are you willing to become? What is this dream asking you to become? Who do you need to be? What reality do you need to step into and assume that it's already fulfilled, that it's already a fact? Just like Steve Jobs' reality distortion field. He didn't let anything tell him otherwise. He was like, I'm already going to do it. It's already done. Cam Newton, the Super Bowl winning quarterback for the Carolina Panthers, he would say this amazing thing. He would say just before the Super Bowl, he said, I was a millionaire and I was a Super Bowl quarterback long before I ever was a millionaire and a Super Bowl quarterback. And you see that by the top athletes in the world, by the top of any profession in the world. They already have lived that reality. Will Smith says I've already thought it and now it's done. Now we just got to wait for y'all to see it. It's already in his imagination. So remind yourself, lack of evidence is an evidence of lack. There's a period of time that needs to elapse. We live in a world of time and space. And that doesn't mean that you're not good enough. It just means that it might take a little bit of time.